Hi, this is Fred Copestake, your host to the Selling Through Partnering Skills podcast. Based on the book, the podcast explores how sales professionals can use the power of partnering intelligence to take their selling to the next level. By combining the skills associated with better partnering and existing best practice, salespeople can ensure their approach is more modern and collaborative. There are 6 elements to PQ, and in each episode we look at how sales professionals have used these and how their insights can contribute to your success. So this week we have Mike Willoughby, who is the joint founder of MPI. I'm really excited to talk to Mike because we've actually worked together for quite a bit and on a number of different projects, which have all been pretty good fun. I know he thinks a lot about selling. I know he thinks about it at a lot of different levels. I also know he's got a lot of different opinions, which hopefully he will, I'm sure he's going to share with us in this conversation. So Mike, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Looking forward to it.
Perhaps just before we do get into the elements of PQ, of partnering skills, perhaps you could just give us a little background on yourself and what MPI actually is and does.
Yeah, sure, no problems at all. MPI was set up coming on for 12 years ago now by myself and my partner Jerry Brown. We've since added an additional director into the company as well. And our vision when we started was to grow our company internationally, but really be internationally based. And hence from that, we've opened offices in the US. We've got an office in Dubai, and we have the UK as well. We work with principal consultants, as we like to call them, basically across the globe, which is better for the clients because less travel, done in local language, and also understand the local culture as well. So that to me is a great fit for a client as much as it is for us as well at the same time. We work in the areas of leadership, senior leadership, management, sales, customer experience would be our really true niche areas, I would say. And because of the amount of principal consultants we actually work with, we're able to spread that knowledge across those guys as well. So, if we're doing a piece of work on leadership, we bring leadership consultants in who specialize in that particular area. And then again, specialize in specific elements of that area as well. So a fairly wide range of stuff we get involved in and work with a really wide range of clients as well. Blue chip clients right the way through to SMEs. Brilliant.
And so, I know you've got a world of experience. How long have you been personally involved in the whole consultancy gig?
Great. Blimey, let the secrets out now. I started in 1994. Prior to that, I was a training manager at Nationwide, and then prior to that, obviously, a career within Nationwide in the branch network. And I started with a company called PMC, Peters Management Consultancy, and worked with those guys for up until 2007, 2008. PMC was taken over by 2006. PMC was taken over by a company called GP Strategies, and then Jerry and I, who both worked for them at the time, decided we wanted to do our own thing and set up MPI. Let's say around about 12 years ago now, so 2008 that would have been.
Brilliant. So a real wealth of experience, and just thinking more about the sort of the sales side and whether that's sales leadership or a sales person's way of operating, you'll have seen quite a lot of the changes, as we've the sort of the whole approach has started to become more. Well, okay. How have you seen that change?
With it, the way you see the change has been it's moved completely from product push, service push, right the way through to a consultative basis. And the value add basis as well, I would say. When I've been working most recently in the IT world, which I find fascinating, totally fascinating, because of the literally the way the guys have to operate. And even now, you still see them selling products and sell service without actually getting to consultation and full discussions with a client or a partner. But we're gradually moving them towards that area. They're gradually moving and recognizing in the world of today and the world of tomorrow as well, it has to be done on a consultative basis. It has to be solution based and value add based. It's the way it's going to be, and it will be.
No, I'm totally aligned with that, as you know, which is why I find the partnering skills, these elements of PQ, so interesting, because I think salespeople can use whatever's their favorite consultative solution sell value-based methodology, but they can
Yes,
apply these to sort of give themselves a bit of a better finesse to
totally.
the way they operate. So that's what I want to do. I want to sort of dive into that and just get some of your ideas, some of your hints and tips, whether that's at an individual level, if it's more how an organization can start to use these.
Yeah,
And we'll
of
just go through the 6 elements and just sort of, I'll pick your brains, or we will pick your brains if that's okay.
course it is. Absolutely. More than happy
Well,
with that.
well, let's start with trust then.
Okay.
I'll always start with trust, because for me, trust is the foundation of all relationships. Without that, there's no communication, and we can't do all the other good stuff we talk about in modern selling. So how can sales organizations start to develop trust, do you think?
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because where does trust start from? It starts from a good experience for the partner, for the end user, for the client, whoever it might be, at whatever levels within an organization as well. So it's about, what have I done for the client that's actually going to make them feel better about what I've done for them? Whether that's the end product they've received or the way I've done it. And in my way, it's actually about the way I do it as much as it is about the end product. It's about following through what I say I'm going to do, making sure I do the things I say I'm going to do, and making sure that whatever product and process I've got in place, it's working for them and it's doing the right thing for them. So it's all about that. It's about me, if you like, as the organization, whether I'm an individual or the organization as a whole, doing what is supposed to be done for the person who's the partner, client, etc., end user.
Wow, interesting. So I suppose in a world where products might be quite similar, I know marketing departments would hate us saying that, but
Yeah.
quite often they are. The salesperson or the organization, that approach is the bit which becomes a differentiator. If I've understood what you're saying well there.
Yeah, totally. I think it is totally about the person who does the sales piece. There is so much that's of a similar nature. There are elements between products which are, got slightly more value than others, work slightly slicker than others. But I think it's the way the person puts it across and the way they really understand what the partner, the end user, is really looking for. And if you flip that on its head and go into financial services world or any other world, it's about really understanding what the individual wants to buy. What are they looking for and what's it to them? How's it going to make their life easier, the way they work easier, the way they work better? And to me, that's what selling is about. It's about making sure that whatever I've got is going to make that next person's life easier. Because if I do that, they'll trust me, they'll come back to me for additional products, additional services. I don't think it's cost-based at all. I think it's more about value-based.
Wow. Let's just go back over that. Not cost-based, value-based.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, yeah, I totally agree. If you're selling to me, make my life easier, I'll find that of distinct value. But I guess it really is understanding what that easy life or what that kind of win for them looks like, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. And, from a salesperson's perspective, to me, it's asking the right questions. It's understanding what they're trying to achieve, where they're trying to go, what the outcome is they want from whatever it is I'm selling to them. So one of the typical things I would always ask a client when I'm talking to them, selling the services that we do, is what is it you want your people doing differently? What is it they're doing today against that? And what's the outcome you really want to see? Because it's about their expectations, their outcome, what they want to see being done differently that's going to make the difference. And to me, that actually links really nice into one of the other sessions, which is the win-win orientation, because it's totally about win-win.
All these stuff is linked together, but I think very naturally, this is why I love this model, that the trust kind of naturally progresses into win-win, doesn't it? That's what you're talking about. Where do you want to be? What are the outcomes? I mean, outcomes is a really interesting word. Can you just expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, so when I'm talking outcomes, it can mean a variety of different things. It might mean financial outcomes. We want to be in a better place. We want to be saving money. We want to be feeling more protected. We want, we'd have better security because that's going to be better financially for us. It could be about behaviors. The outcome is the behavior of the individual, doing things differently, doing things better, faster. So it links into a variety of different elements in my mind. It's What's the outcome that the boss is looking for their people, also for their business? And of course, when you're talking to an organization, it's not just the boss. You then start having to talk to other people within the organization to find out the outcome that they might be looking for. And the chances are they're going to be different outcomes. So the boss is obviously going to be the driver of the outcome, but the other elements can't be forgotten about either. They underpin it. They underpin the outcomes that's there. So it's all of those, it's always around it. It's really understand what you're trying to achieve, where you're trying to go. From an IT side of things, what does your IT bosses, directors want to achieve? From your sales directors, what is it they want to see? What is it they want to achieve? As an MD, what is it you're looking for? What is it you want to see?
Absolutely. So again, you touched on something very current. I mean, I just recently read some research saying that the decision-making unit or the buying committee, it's on the increase again. So I think salespeople to really understand that, work out the who's who and what are they specifically trying to achieve. That's kind of a key tip, I guess, is what you're saying there.
Totally, yeah, very much so. It's, you know, you might be talking to people at a certain level, and you need to go up the organisation, but you need to be asking more broader questions about who else should I be talking to about this particular area. Salespeople quite often get worried and frightened if they go elsewhere, because what it could mean is they lose control and they may lose the opportunity. To my mind, it's about being braver. It's asking the questions of the person that you're talking to, who else should I be talking to? You know what I can do, you know the types of products I bring you, we've got a great relationship. I need to think of someone else I'm talking to because there may be additional things that they want, which I can also bring to the party. So it's about that whole piece.
I like that. I like the concept of bravery, of also courage in selling. Because it is happening, is other people are involved, and just sticking your head in the sand and sort of pretending it's not isn't going to do you any good at the end of the day, is it?
No. You know, if you always do what you've always done, you know the saying, you'll always get what you've always got. It doesn't change, even in sales world.
Absolutely. It's interesting. And so again, I mean, when we've spoken before, I mean, you've heard me, I bang the collaboration drum. It's all about collaboration. It's all about working together. So selling company, buying company, but all the individuals, all the people on the team. And we know as sales are getting more complex, as they're getting bigger, more people involved, you have to work together. Which again, you know, neatly brings us into the next element, if you like, of PQ, of partnering skills, which is interdependence. You know, I think we're starting to touch on that. So let's just explore that a little bit more. How can the salesperson or the sales organization get their head around that? Because you said, oh yeah, just be courageous. I mean, that's an easy thing to say, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I guess if you really understand the person you're helping to buy one of your products and services, and I like the use of helping to buy rather than selling to, because the more I understand the person I'm selling to, the more I understand the company, the easier it becomes to help them to buy something from me, because I understand what they're really looking for. So it's an exchange, it's an openness of ideas, of thoughts, because without their thoughts, how can I make sure that my solution is the right solution for them? Without their beliefs, how can I make sure the solution is the right solution for them? So that interdependence, that collaboration, as you call it, is really crucial in today's world. You know, it even goes as far as going into a shop and buying a pair of shoes. You know, having that conversation, the salesperson have a conversation with the person who's buying the shoes about what is it they're looking for, the comfort levels. You know, what's good about them, what don't they like? It's about getting that going and getting that conversation going. It's fascinating because I could think back to my days many years ago now, working on a counter at TSB and then Nationwide, and asking some very similar questions to what we ask these days. Because what is it you want to do with this? How often do you want to get to the money? What are you saving for? You know, all of those sorts of questions, bringing out the relationship, bringing out the understanding from the individual, so you can put in the right product, the right service.
I mean, a lot of the foundations in sales, it is around communication, as you say, it's around questioning. It's still that sort of solid basis, isn't it?
Yes.
But some people still seem to struggle with it. It still seems to be, no, I'm going to tell you everything.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there's two issues, isn't there? One is they tell, and what they're telling you is about something they already know about, not the customer, but the salesperson. Isn't it far easier to find out what the customer wants, listen to what they're saying, and then give them what they're looking for from the products or services you've got? I think it's the Dalai Lama actually made the comment. I don't think the comment, I've got to try and get this right, is I don't need to tell you something I already know. It's far better for me to understand about you. It's not quite right, but it's something along those lines. And it's the more I understand, the more I listen to what you've got to say, the more I ask questions based on what I hear, the better it's going to be and the better the outcome for everyone involved. So it's back to the win-win, back to the interdependence, and it's back to making sure that I can do the thing that's going to help you to do what's right for you as a customer. It's communication. Sales is communication.
It's great. Great thing about podcast is what we can do is we can go and check that, and we can pop it into the show notes as to the exact thing there. Maybe a little link across to that. But certainly what you were saying there, yeah, we get the gist of that.
Yeah.
You actually used another thing here, which I quite liked as a soundbite. And I think I got it right. I just want to double check back with you. You were talking about exchange.
Yeah.
And I wrote down here, openness of thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's really interesting. And funnily enough, it kind of takes me into the next element of PQ, which is about this self-disclosure and feedback element.
Mm.
Which when I've spoken to people about PQ, that's the one where they've sort of gone, oh, well, how does a salesperson do this?
Yeah.
And you started to explain that. Yeah. So it's me, even as the salesperson, sometimes saying to you, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
As much as understanding yours, yes, I mean, that's clear. We've spoken about that. But the salesperson having the right to put through their thoughts, feelings, that they're part of the relationship.
Totally.
That's kind of what I read into that a little bit.
Yeah, totally. It's back to the openness again, isn't it? And it's about you tell me a little bit about you and I'll give you a little bit about me type of scenario, but around the sales conversation. So there's a number of things that you might say to me as the client and me going, that's really interesting. There's some additional thoughts you might have around this as well. So you're giving input at the same time. And you're almost becoming a sounding board with them.
Mm.
So it's almost like being a coach. Sales to me is about coaching the individual to get to where they need to be, to achieve the target, to achieve their the product they want, to achieve whatever it is they do. And that's by the way I listen, the way I ask questions, and the way I recount what I've just heard, but also give thoughts into it as well. So it's all of those things coming together. And I guess it's about not having a predetermined idea in my brain. I've seen it so many times when you talk to a salesperson and they already know what you want to buy before you know it yourself. And it's so painful to watch. And they think they're great. They think they're the best thing since sliced bread. So they force a sale through the customer and then wonder why it doesn't continue. Wonder why the customer who brings it back wonders why they don't get a repeat piece of business. So the more they're open, the more they listen, the more they understand, the more they put through thought processes as well, but softly, not harshly, the better it's going to be for the end user, for the client, for the customer. And the closer they're going to come to the customer's outcomes, what they're looking for.
Absolutely. Let's just be clear, though. You're not saying don't have an objective.
No. You always have an objective, whatever that objective is. My objective is to get some business from you. My objective is to achieve a meeting for you. My objective is to sell you a piece of kit, whatever that piece of kit might look like, a service. Yeah. But actually, by having the conversation, I can make sure the piece of kit, the service, the product is the right one for you.
Yeah. Or the objective of the conference, if we're boiling that right down to the meeting, the objective of the meeting is for me to help you. Yeah, so I want to be your sounding board, and that concept of the salesperson as a coach, I'm very comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Very, very. That's what a good salesperson does, I think.
Yeah. It's really interesting, isn't it? Because I can remember quite a few years ago now, running sales programs and building it around the GROW model. So the GROW became the sales process. And it worked beautifully. It really did work beautifully.
Funnily enough, last week I was using that as a questioning model. We talked a long time about consultative selling with different models, ways of doing it, different types of questions. It wasn't quite an afterthought, but I wasn't really planning on spending so much time on that. And I sort of just said, well, the GROW model is quite useful. And because of the current environment, lots of change going on with COVID and everything, the guys really latched onto that.
Yeah.
And we spent far more time than I'd budgeted. Not that I begrudge this was brilliant, but talking about the GROW model just as a way that they thought, this is so useful. And they immediately got it as to how they could have conversations with the clients, their customers, to be able to help them out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I love doing that. So we might see that one coming back into vogue a little bit.
I tell you, it would be fantastic. It really would. It's a great model anyway for coaching, but it does fit for the sales world. You have to be careful how you use it, but it does fit for the sales world as well.
I mean, different episode. You've got to be careful with all sorts of sales techniques and all sorts of ways that we could train, and we train with best intent, don't we? And you can take some of the stuff and sort of use it badly or maliciously or unethically, if you like. But I think certainly, I mean, if you can, keep working through the elements of PQ, the change, the GROW model, it fits absolutely with change, with comfort with change. And again, that's what partnering skills involves. Salesperson, excited about this stuff. The salesperson as a change agent.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, very much so. And I mean, if you look at the IT world and you look at distribution as a world, it's all about partner enablement. And that's actually about the salesperson in the distributor being the enabler for the partner, so supporting them to help them through change, to understand where they're trying to go for their business and making sure they can support them in the right way. It links back to every single point within, PQ.
It does.
It's what's there. And of course, what you have is some salespeople don't want to change. So, you've got that you're fighting against when you're, as a boss, when you're dealing with them, when you're working with them.
The salesperson doesn't want to change. What hope is there of helping their customer to make the changes that, as a salesperson, you're almost by definition, I mean, not every single time, but almost by definition is what you're going to be prescribing or what you're going to be helping them with. If you're a resistor yourself, practice what I preach, not what I actually do.
Exactly. I mean, and that's what happens, isn't it? If I can think of people I've worked with in the past over the years where we've done a great job working with them. We've coached them. We've done everything we needed to do. They go back into the sales world, and the sales manager goes, "Oh yeah, that was a lovely course, wasn't it? And I'll go back to do what you're doing." And the salesperson very, very happily jumps back because it worked for them in the past, so why change? So you get that type of situation again. So, sometimes the organization is as much its fault as the salesperson themselves.
Another, Mike, we could just have a week's worth of episodes on each of these, because no, you're right. Making the change is tough, and by definition, you're asking people to step out of comfort zones, aren't you?
Yeah.
And given a chance, dash back in. We all do it. And that's exactly when they need the support. And that's, again, we can also talk about elegant training solutions and people's development.
Yes.
Stuff. But no, it's. I think that's a real biggie, and again, many models, many things we can use to help people understand change a little bit better. Yeah. Even just down to the change curve. Just thinking about that, Kubler-Ross type thing, and back to customer orientation. Where's the customer on that?
Yeah.
You might have dashed through that. Again, I'm thinking current environment. You might have dashed through that really quickly. You're seeing opportunity, brave new world, off we go. Customers still in denial or panic or feeling very uncomfortable about it.
Yeah.
Recognize them and mirror that back.
Totally. And that's, to me, it's where the salesperson becomes their coach to support them through it and to help them see the future, help them see where the world is going and help them through that process. And in some instances, the world's going to be a different place. And there's lots of people hoping it goes back to the way it was. And it's going to be fascinating to see what actually does happen. But it's about looking to what change is going to mean, what the future looks like, and where we're going as a whole. And when you're in the sales role in the sales role, you're talking to your customers, it's the comments might be, or the questions might be, so what is it you're looking for from the future? Because your product might be fine for today, but may not be suitable for you for tomorrow. So it's about what is it you're looking for and where you're going to go within the business, or within your own home life. Financial services, talking about the future, talking about expectations for the future. When do you want to retire? What do you want to do when you retire? What about your life expectations? What about your children coming through? What do you want for them? So all of those sort of questions that provide the opportunity for the salesperson to understand more and more about them, and then make sure the solution, whatever the solution is today, is also able to change and build on.
I sometimes talk about future scoping.
Yeah.
So this is good for here and now. This is great, but are we building in something that's going to be robust for as we're moving forward?
Exactly.
And I should just flag up for the sake of consistency, but we are moving into the last element of PQ, which is future orientation. And again, I think the salesperson can very much help with this. And as we're having this conversation at a couple of levels, aren't we? The sales leaders can help the salespeople by equipping them with information, with ways of thinking about the future. Rather than sort of the here and now, start to sort of use ways of thinking that you can start to get an opinion of where we're going. It doesn't right or wrong, but at least if there's an opinion, it starts conversations with customers about how they're seeing future and what we might think. That's where a lot of the magic happens, because we can bring that stuff together. What you think, what I think, actually it's somewhere in the middle. That's pretty cool. Let's build off that.
Very much so. It's really interesting, isn't it, when you observe salespeople, whether they're using the phone, whether they're face to face, whether they're using a medium, for instance Zoom or whatever else, Teams, etc. The fact that they can ask these questions but don't always ask them, the fact they try to stick to the tried and trusted methodology in the way they go forward, rather than thinking, and so what about the future? Asking those sort of open questions to get the response that's going to support them and help them get there.
Again, I think we're back to courage. It can be a little bit frightening, because it's quite valid for a customer to turn around and go, I don't really know. What do you think?
Exactly.
I don't know. I think I should ask you this question because I've been told to. I mean, that's not. It's actually, I have been doing a little bit of research around this, and one of the things that I'm thinking is, again, just have it as an opinion, have it as an idea, have it as a concept. It doesn't need to be fully researched, futurologist, bulletproof type stuff.
No.
But again, it's back to prep, isn't it? It's back to just having a way to go, which again I think makes you a more interesting person to talk to as well.
Totally. And the more the individual thinks about these things, the better it is for them in their conversations with the client, whoever the client may be. It just opens up further conversation.
And we know the more senior level they're operating at, that's what those guys want, and that's what will make the impression. It's just this guy came and asked me about that and had an opinion and had thought about it. It was even on on their radar. Like it.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Goodness, wow! Time is fleeting. I can't believe it. I'm keeping an eye on the clock, because I like to try and keep these interviews within half an hour. And we've met each other. we could still be recording and taking a
Totally.
Loads of storage space. But no, this is really, you've given us some really interesting little bits to think about, and to an indication of your own thinking about this, which is fantastic. But no, while we're on future, then what about future for you guys? What about future for Mike? What about future for MPI? What's in store?
Well, as far as we're concerned, the virtual world is open, and we're really embracing it. And actually, to be fair, really enjoying it. We do believe face-to-face with classroom will come back, but it'll be less so than in the future than in the past. And looking at the guys that we work with, the principal consultants like yourselves, there's a number of them have made the change, and they're enjoying it and getting a lot from it, and adding extra to things in the way they do things. You have to think differently, you have to do things differently, but at the same time, it has an impact, and the results are coming through saying it's very positive. As far as ourselves is concerned, it's continuous growth. It's looking for more opportunities. It's looking to partner with other partners. We've got some really great partners that we're working with at the moment in the States, across the UK, a few companies we work with over in Saudi. And it's about keep working with those guys and building the business and taking it where it needs to go for the future.
If you want to give them a shout out, you're more than welcome.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you want to chat, seriously, if you want to, the partners that you're working with, I know there's some.
Yeah, I mean, there's a company called Lumius in the US, great partners of ours. Started off, we went to them for a particular project with a client, with a distributor actually, and we created a really good program for them, which was a blend of digital learning and then a masterclass afterwards, sales masterclass. And the last year, we have been inundated from those guys about soft skills and working for their clients on some soft skills development. And it's been a great relationship. I'm now going back to them and going, well, I've got another opportunity with a distributor again, and I'm going to need your support this time, rather than, so it works two ways. It's great. It's a win-win for both of us. And funnily enough, it does what we need it to do. That's one particular partner. There's a partner in Saudi Arabia that we're just dealing with at the moment. And what's actually going on in there is they're a human resources, so they do recruitment, and they've always been asked about training. They've got nothing up their sleeves as far as training is concerned. So again, we started working with those guys and are developing a series of materials for them to be delivered over there. So things like that happening all the while.
Brilliant. So not only are you understanding these elements from a sort of intellectual and from a training point of view, you're using them daily. And I know you do as well, to be fair. So no, but it's great to hear that, not just, yeah, I know the theory and I can train that, but I don't live it. I know you do. So no, that's good stuff. That's good stuff, Mike. Brilliant. How do people get in touch with you then? I mean, I'm sure, well, I certainly hope that people have heard what, hearing what you've got to say, people might want to get in touch and sort of kick some of these things around a bit more. What's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah, if I guess the email, it's mike@mpi-llp.com. Always get in contact with you that way, or give me a call, 075 954 96847.
Brilliant.
What's the UK number?
Yeah. Well, we can drop these into the notes and stuff as well. Sure. So that's brilliant. Mike, that's absolutely superb. I really do appreciate your time. It's always good having a chat, and like I say, I know that we've sometimes gone on a little bit, and I think we've been reasonably disciplined today.
Yes, hard.
But yeah, it is. And well, look, one of the things I do have in mind is a bit further down the line is picking some of these elements and doing an episode just on trust or just on self-disclosure and feedback.
Of course.
Which could easily turn into a coaching episode all of its own. So hopefully I can get you back at some stage and we'll kick some more around.
Be a pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
That's brilliant, Mike. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Fred. All the best, mate.
Cheers. Thank you for listening to the Selling Through Partnering Skills podcast with me, Fred Copestake. If you liked it, why not leave a review? If you didn't, also leave one. Remember, it's all about the feedback. If you want to learn more about your own PQ, why not go to the book website, which is www.throughpartnering.co.uk, and there you can take a little self-audit. And of course, if you want to get in touch to talk about how you can use partnering skills, you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So until next time, keep thinking about how you can adopt a more modern and collaborative approach to selling by selling through partnering skills.